teams, when you look at the starting lineups for St. Louis, 4 starters led by Jackie Kemp. Jordan France is the only junior who starts. The Billikens 8-7 overall. You talked about that tough non-conference schedule, but they've got it going in Atlantic 10 play, that 2-0 start. Meanwhile, the Fordham Rams, and you have the 3 freshmen and the 2 upperclassmen. Jamaris Davis, the reigning Atlantic 10 player. The Rams and the Billikens, 2-0 against 2-0 early on in Atlantic 10 play. St. Louis was the preseason 2nd pick in the conference. Fordham was picked to finish 5th, and the Rams in their home whites win the tip and bring it up against St. Louis in their road blues. And here's Kavanaugh, the redshirt freshman, right off the bat, picking up where she left off the last 3 games.
Well, and I think the key to for Jordan France, she was there. She didn't create a problem. Get up on a body. Don't let Kavanaugh get comfortable in that drive seam to the hoop.
Early matchup as we expected, as Lauren Holden guarding Jackie Kemp. They've battled for the last 3 years in this conference. Kemp's never lost to Fordham. Shot clock within 10. And Kemp fires away for the first time, hits the front of the rim, bounces around. Davis trying to chase down the rebound, one of the leaders in the country.
Ball movement and rotation, but let's look down at the opposite side with Kavanaugh here, using her teammate, working off the body, and just having that little seam. We talked about her speed and her first step in the opening. That is key today in pushing somebody off the dribble.
Kavanaugh, actually in her 3rd year of college, had to sit out her first 2 seasons. Her first year at Cal with an injury, last year here at Fordham as a transfer. As they go inside for Davis, nice find for Blue, and Fordham has 2 buckets to begin.
Nice easy entry pass inside, and getting back to Kavanaugh, you know, she was able to practice with this team a year ago, so she got herself familiar with the plays and understanding, so she really isn't a true freshman in that aspect.
Klug steps up to force the turnover by Covington, and turnovers were an issue for St. Louis, even though they won on Wednesday night in Richmond.
Yeah, something that Coach Stone spoke to us in depth about at practice last night with her team, just being clean and smart. She really felt the last thing she said to her team leaving the court last night in practice, we need to play a complete game, not take a play off. That is going to be the difference this afternoon. Remember, this is a Fordham team that lost 2 against St. Louis last season. They've got some revenge on their mind here at home.
Davis, one of the best rebounders in the country. They leave Jillings wide open for 3 and gets the friendly roll.
Zara Jillings, 3rd start of this season, started to feel comfortable as the freshman out of New Zealand, and very typical of those international players taking that 3 from the outside.
Her numbers have jumped up significantly since moving into the starting lineup now 3 games ago. First 7 points of the afternoon for Fordham. Here's Aaliyah Covington, one of those senior starters. The lead on the floor. And Covington, nice move to get around Jillings. No one home. Another turnover for SLU.
The first 3 series down the floor, St. Louis has not looked comfortable at all in their offense. But look at the ball movement. Jillings saying, you know what, no one's going to come out on me and challenge me. Maybe in the scouting report, they were like, we'll give her that 3 in that aspect. Challenge, drained it, and a 7-0 lead. 27% from downtown this season. Zara Jillings, 1 for 1 today. Quick catch and shoot, Kavanaugh. And a good job clearing the boards by Madison Gitz. And a better job is Fordham right now getting back, trying to deny that movement in that transition game, but the kickback. And that is something that St. Louis is solid in doing, looking for the trail in France. And France coming off a career-high tying 20-point performance Wednesday night in Richmond. First bucket for SLU. That broke the ice for France and her teammates. Davis on the other end, athletic move inside. Hey, that was a tough turn inside. She put her head down. No options there. Kind of a broken play. No one was coming back to the basketball. And Davis finished. They go back inside this time for Gitz. A little high-low action. Another turnover for the Billikens. Davis is standing out there on the perimeter, waiting for somebody to come to the ball. A little fake back, and a nice job taking it around her own. Coach Steph Gately had told us earlier in the week in the conference call, she said, you know, I had to challenge Davis a little bit early on in her career because I felt like she wasn't getting all out of her potential. And that comes with the maturity, I think, of being a student athlete in college and just, you know, just growing up. And for Jamaris, the light bulb went on, and she has become a completely different player, one of the tops in the A-10.
As Fordham turns the ball over, the results for Jamaris Davis, all-conference last year, all-defensive team in the Atlantic 10 last year, and she's picked up this year her senior season right where she left off.
Interesting here, St. Louis working with 5 out right now. And they work really well off of their screens, trying to create something out high and somebody working off the screen. And right now, you have Jamaris Davis out there. Davis, just get a hand up. That's one thing. You're out there on Jordan France. Get a hand up. Try to contest it.
Jordan France, who shoots three-pointers at a 40% clip. She is the offense right now. 2 3-pointers to keep the Billikens in the game. Davis has that deflected and a late whistle called underneath. It's going to go against Jenny Vliet. First foul for Vliet. So here is Jamaris Davis, a double-double machine. Last season, 14.5 points a game and just under 13 rebounds a game, which was good for second in the nation.
And you can't take that double-double all season long lightly. I mean, she's only the second player in all of Ram history to ever make that accomplishment. I mean, that's incredible here on Alumni Day in the Bronx.
5 early points for Davis. France already has a couple threes. This time puts it on the floor. Shot clock winds to 5 and a foul on the entry pass. Whistled underneath by Fatu Sissoko Stevens. She's one of our 3 officials with Bruce Morris and Brandon Enterline today.
Pat, when St. Louis is moving the basketball around, because Fordham is playing them so tight, their passes aren't crisp. You want your pass right where you want your hands out there so you can just turn and catch and shoot the basketball. Fordham's making that very difficult right now, so the passes are a little bit errant enough where the defense is able to recover, and thus the differential in the score.
And Fordham wins with defense. They have during the 6.5 seasons with Stephanie Gately in charge of this program.
And this is the methodicalness that we were talking about, one of the keys in the open. Work the clock down, work the shot clock down, try to get a good shot. Challenge there, probably a better opportunity, because this opens up the transition game.
You let Jackie Kemp get out and run. She can create like that. Paige Rockers off the bench with her first bucket of the game and this to the season. But they've won 4 in a row, and they're starting to hit their stride as they get into conference play. Coming off a 79-61 win at Richmond on Wednesday. Then they made their way up I-95 here to New York City, and the free throw pulled them within a point.
Well, and you make a good point. You know, they're 8-7. Extremely difficult non-conference schedule. Vandy and Little Rock, who sits in first place as we start today in the Sun Belt at 3-0. A nice roll for Bree Kavanaugh. She takes it right back at the opposite way off of that made free throw. And I like the way that Fordham is trying to pick their moments to kind of move quickly with the basketball in their offense. And you can see right there, Bree Kavanaugh doesn't need too much room to get to the paint and try to finish this for a three-point play. Nice job.
Leah, if you like seeing Bree Kavanaugh on the floor and Lauren Holden, you're going to see a lot of them on the floor because they rarely leave the floor. Last game, Kavanaugh played the full 40 minutes and scored 23 points. Kemp unable to answer on the other end, but a good job by Gitz to get another possession.
Between the 2 schools today on the floor, you got 3 for Fordham and 1 for St. Louis. They're really the top minutes makers on the floor in the A-10.
Lauren Holden plays more than 39 minutes a game. That's second in the country. And another three-pointer for the Billikens early on. This one from the corner by Jenny Vliet.
Jenny Vliet has really developed as an all-around player here now in her senior season. 7th in rebounding, but has also made some crucial points, especially in the first quarter of the start of Wednesday night's game against Richmond when she canned 6.
And off the Fordham turnover, St. Louis with a chance to take its first lead of the game. Fordham scored the first 7 points. Three-pointer keeping St. Louis in it. They're 3 for 4 from downtown, but this time they go inside to Gitz.
Maddie Gitz dictated that entire scenario. She rotated nicely. She was calling for the ball when she felt comfortable at the top of the free throw line and then moved smoothly down to complete the play at the hoop.
10.5 points a game for Gitz, among the conference's leading rebounders. Nice backdoor cut for Jillings.
Slid right by the defense. The defense was pulled up high, and she just waited for that super moment timing to go to the hoop.
Zara Jillings, 5 early points. That's a long two-pointer. Gitz had her foot on the line, but St. Louis is lighting it up from outside. Here's Holden, an open look. Davis crashing the boards, and she's going to get hit with the foul. Tonight at 7:30 Eastern, join CBS Sports Network on the ice for some college hockey action as the top-ranked St. Cloud State Huskies look to protect their undefeated home record when they welcome number 10 Minnesota on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
That's going to be a good one as well, both those teams in the top 10.
Feels like hockey weather inside the Rose Hill Gym this afternoon.
It certainly does, and the Gophers have been struggling a little bit, so that'll be interesting to see.
The handoff to Kemp. She just keeps on going, met by 2 defenders who just checked into the game, Jeremiah and Gillis.
This is the marquee shot and movement of Jackie Kemp for her entire career. Loves to turn the corner and drive to her right. You want to try to push her off the block, but you pick your poison here. You get Jackie to the free throw line where she has been money her entire career.
It was a similar drive to the basket on New Year's Eve in which she broke the school's all-time scoring record. 1,588 points coming into this game this afternoon.
Already has her master's. Heading off to Price Waterhouse, working as a CPA. Talk about becoming leaders off the floor, and it's one of the things when I'm talking to these different college teams that they're going to be so far ahead of their peers once they get to the boardroom and stuff through their experiences of playing college basketball, and Jackie Kemp has showed that on the floor.
That was the freshman Kendall Jeremiah driving to the basket and drawing the foul. One of 3 natives of New Zealand, not only on the Fordham roster, but in the playing rotation for Stephanie Gately. And the second foul against Jenny Vliet here in the first quarter.
Great pipeline going back to Coach Gately's days at Long Island, being able to bring in those players from New Zealand that have made immediate impacts for her squad as Vliet will take a break.
Not only New Zealand, Fiji as well represented on this Fordham roster. Valerie Nainima, one of Gately's assistants here at Fordham. She says is the best player she ever coached when she was in charge of the program at LIU Brooklyn. Block shot by Jeremiah, who's made a nice impact since checking into the game a couple minutes ago. Kemp tries to poke it away, and it'll stay with Fordham.
Lauren Holden, as a junior, she's one of those players, as you take a look at the bench and the directives going on there. And over 1,800 points in her career. Fordham is director, majoring in communications out there on the point. Fire plug for this Fordham Ram team.
Davis puts it on the floor. Tough shot against Gitz, who held her ground. Now Kemp out running a little bit. France with those 2 early 3-pointers that were huge for St. Louis. Inside for Gitz, and Jeremiah bothered just enough.
Well, I'll tell you, Fordham's not buying on that high screen pick and roll that St. Louis is trying to perform right now from the outside. Nicely done, getting through defensively to rematch back up and make that shot uncomfortable for Gitz.
Kavanaugh, a little floater from the elbow. Crashing the boards is Gitz. Davis involved. Nice tap back to Jeremiah. Holden right into the hands of France. Bounce pass down the lane. And traveling on the run by Mac Mahan of St. Louis.
Carrie's a spark plug. I love the way she plays the game. back and forth on the floor. She knew immediately that France didn't have too many options, came deep from the defensive end, trying to make something happen, just couldn't get her footing.
Fourth turnover of the quarter for the Billikens, but 3 of them came very early as Davis shows off the range. And Jamaris now with 5 points. Shot clock is off. Kavanaugh now draws the assignment of Kemp. Down to 4. McMahon drives around Davis, who looked away for a moment, recovered, but then fouled McMahon.
I think McMahon knew that Davis was lurking just enough behind. She hesitated wisely, and now Davis picks up the foul. But nicely done in going to the hoop strong and putting Davis now with 2 fouls.
Yeah, that could be a big play. 2.5 seconds left. Davis picking up that second as McMahon misfires. She's a 72% free throw shooter. Both of these teams good free throw shooting teams. St. Louis 72% on the season.
Coach Stone telling us last night that, and her teammates, that McMahon is the leader in all physical categories. She's the player that wants to beat you in the sprints, wants to beat you in the weight room, and that's okay. Puts pressure on this squad. Coach Stone out there last night in practice, getting down in the stands, trying to get her team all fired up. Typical guard type of a feeling on the floor during practice last night. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Great player in her day as well, and her team trails by a point.
Tournament, but Davis, Kavanaugh, and Holden, they've been in the weight room since the summertime, and that's where you build everything to make sure your lungs are at capacity to get through the tough times.
Now you saw Jamaris Davis, and she picked up her second foul with 2.5 seconds to go in the first quarter. Still out there. Maybe she doesn't go 37 minutes today with the foul trouble, something to keep an eye on. You see the 3-point field goals for St. Louis, and those were huge early, especially by Jordan France.
France doing a nice job on Bree Kavanaugh, getting through that one slice on that handoff that she just received at the top of the free throw line. I think for Bree now, she's going to need to make an adjustment on France, maybe go back the opposite way or kind of jerk her with the basketball a little bit, just to get a little bit more opening on her shot, because she's starting to run and fall away as she's following through on her shot.
Haley Gillis is 6'4" freshman as Fordham throws the ball away in our direction. Gillis had saved that possession, but Fordham handed it right back. That's their 4th turnover.
I was wondering if I had any eligibility left on that one. It's coming straight at us like a bullet. Coach Gately looking on as, she just has surrounded herself with so many great people on her staff. Abigail Corning coming back and being a part of that staff, and I think that's important for the players who are now here to be able to try to emulate players who used to play here at Fordham.
Samantha Clark on the staff as well. Jamaris Davis just moved past her on the school's all-time rebounding list as Rockers hits the floater off the glass.
That's a sweet little bank there. I
Yeah.
like that, rolling down the lane.
Paige Rockers had a big game at Richmond, 10 points and 9 rebounds off the bench on Wednesday.
Rockers really came on at the end of last season, earning her playing time towards this year.
Gillis, Davis, high-low, doesn't go. But the Rams' leading scorer will shoot free throws.
She likes working off of that body contact and isn't phased at all, but nice pass inside, tries to work herself back the opposite way, and the health defense wasn't there. Getting just a little bit too much body into the play, and that's the reason why the foul was called.
Not bad for someone who Stephanie Gately said when she arrived on this campus had no post moves. In high school, she knew how to run the floor, and she knew how to crash the offensive glass.
Well, and that's usually what happens when you're the star of your high school team. You become a one-dimensional player, and it's just give the basketball, let you go do your thing. But, that's one of the fun things that I think, whether it's Coach Stone or Coach Gately, their longevity in coaching, it's not always about having the veteran players. It's being able to teach the players at this level new aspects of the game to be able to progress.
Good defense inside by Joanna Klug, who just checked back in. One of 3 freshman starters for Fordham. Another turnover for St. Louis. That's their 5th of the game. So Klug is playing up front now with Davis. Jillings is back in as well. Off the dribble for Jamaris. Covington crashes the boards, and it will be with St. Louis.
St. Louis wants you to kind of rush things and rush the flow of what you're doing. We saw it a little bit on that series down the floor. They're getting better in their coverage and kind of closing off the gaps to get to the hoop.
Nice backdoor cut for Rockers. Absorbs the contact, and she'll go to the line. And I believe that is foul number 3 on Zara Jillings.
And how about Rockers using her strength with her right arm? She was being leaned in on. Kind of used that body, that left shoulder to be able to get to the hoop and find a way to try now to complete the three-point play. Good job.
Foul trouble starting to mount now for Fordham. Davis with the 2, and Jillings, after checking back in a moment ago, there she is back on the bench with 3 personal fouls. 8 points now for Paige Rockers off the bench.
You know, this is the 9th best scoring defense in the country is Fordham, but they haven't had to use that today to get their offense going against St. Louis, and that has to make Coach Gately pretty happy against his potent St. Louis team.
When Fordham holds the opposition under 55 points this season, they are 7-0.
Goodness, they held Hartford to 44. UC Davis, which is a very good squad, to 62, and GW to 50 this season.
That UC Davis one was part of a 4-day stretch in which they won 3 games that really got them back on track after a tough loss to UCLA.
And all that is trying just to emulate what's going to happen at the next, latter part of the season. Once the A-10s start, you want to try to get players feeling comfortable playing 3 games in 4 days in that type of scenario.
Meanwhile, Gitz has pushed St. Louis's lead up to 4. She has 6 points. Davis, and that's a travel.
Jackie Kemp, she knows she'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4 players, but she patiently waits, and she knows exactly where Gitz is coming down, straight down the line to receive that basketball. Not fazed at all by, a one-on-one play, a double team. Knows where the cutter's coming to the hole.
And you said it best, Jackie Kemp only with 2 points on Wednesday against Richmond, but that just shows how many other ways she can impact the game, which she did. Nice feed inside. Gitz comes up short on the reverse.
They're holding with her head up, trying to look at her options, going down the court. Davis calling for the basketball, but that was way too high. My goodness, she worked so hard. That was a difficult shot for Davis to make and able to complete that play.
And 9 first-half points for Jamaris Davis, Fordham's leading scorer on the season with 15.5 points a game.
I don't think she realized when she picked up her dribble exactly where she was in the paint.
Athletic move to finish, though. Gets a step back.
Woo. Talk about relying on other players when a player is having difficulties in getting open or draining their shots. And Maddie Gitz.
She's going point for point right now with Davis. She's got 8. Davis has 9 inside. Here's the freshman Klug off the window and in. And Klug, typical freshman, has had your up and down year. She started hot, a little bit of a slump, and now she's playing well again. Covington has been quiet, lets it fly, follows her own shot, and knocks it into the hands of Kemp, but this one's going to go against the Billikens.
Jamaris Davis trying to play defense here at the opposite end of the floor, and then sparks the team with that board. And again, picking up her foot, picking up the ball, and not really having too many options. Strong arming it to the basket. She'll get a little bit of a break here.
Appears to be on her way to another double-double. 9 points and 5 rebounds as she takes a rest. Also those 2 fouls. Klug couldn't handle the pass. And France will push.
Yeah, good help defense. Now, if Klug continued onto the basket, she kind of hesitated a bit. Probably would have helped her try to complete that play. She would have run directly into France.
Kemp backing in Holden. Gitz is feeling it from the outside. She's in double figures now with 10.
At some point, if you have the assignment there on 4-2 blue, you've got to be able to come out and meet her wherever she is, because now she's just extending the defense out. This is going to help St. Louis to try to once again open up their inside game.
She's had some prolific scoring games this season. Madison gets some prolific shooting.
And I think that anytime you have a discussion about the A-10 parity in the A-10, today's score, where we are right now, is definitely a testament to that and the respect that every school has for each other going out on the court. St. Louis couldn't say that enough last night when they were practicing here. We expect a real grind-out game this afternoon.
And we've had that 7 lead changes so far. Fordham scored the first 7 points of the game, but it's now St. Louis leading by 4 as Jeremiah travels inside.
Really, the saving grace for St. Louis right now is the three-point shooting. They average 31% on the season. They're shooting 60% from three-point land. That has kept them in this ballgame.
A couple of long twos as well. Overall, 58% from the floor for St. Louis. Fordham shooting it well, too, at 50%. Here's Rockers, and she's had a big first half off the bench.
On the cue is Paige. She knows her role. She really does, coming in off the bench. Really quality minutes for Paige Rockers and extending that three-point line.
And she's got 11 points here in the first half. Davis back on the floor, follows her own miss, finds some room, and heads to the free throw line. Stay with the miss.
Great follow through by Jamaris Davis. She could have given up on the play, and that's a perfect reason why you don't. Crashing the boards, give your team an opportunity.
Haley Gillis receiving some tutoring from her veteran head coach. Davis can't finish the three-point play. Jordan France picked up the foul, meanwhile, and that was her second.
When you think about Davis, double figures in rebounding, 12 games already this season.
McMahon now driving on Davis, and Jeremiah tied her up. Davis takes the charge. Risky with those 2 personal fouls.
Well, risky, and she also had some great help defense there on the grab of the basketball. Could have been a jump ball with possession arrow as well. So good defense by the Rams to stop McMahon.
First foul on her. Davis from the perimeter.
See, that's the thought process that Jamaris Davis will get in your head. She's been taking players to the basket, so now they're backing off a little bit. It's going to give her those short jumpers.
And she leads Fordham with 13 points here in the second quarter. McMahon off the catch and shoot, comes up short. Now Kavanaugh, the redshirt freshman, will get him into the offense. Absorbs some contact and draws the foul. And that's the second foul in a matter of moments by Kerry McMahon of St. Louis. Kavanaugh to the line, where she's an 82% free throw shooter this season. Good for her 6th point.
She has an air of confidence about her. 2-time rookie of the week here in the A-10. And what a great find. You know, sometimes being on the West Coast, things don't work out. You need to be a little bit closer to home, and it certainly has worked out for Bree Kavanaugh.
From Alamucci, New Jersey, back near her hometown here on the campus of Fordham University. France playing with those 2 fouls. Gitz has had the hot hand in the first half for St. Louis. Their shot clock goes down to 3. Gitz from the baseline, and the hot hand continues.
Well, if you need to put the ball in a low percentage spot, that's a great place on the court. Right in the corner, Billikens were challenged with that shot clock going down, and they responded.
12 points now in the first half for Madison Gitz. Now Davis is matched up with Gitz. And Davis now has 15 points.
And that was part of, she got that long wingspan. If you have that long wingspan, you kind of lean in a little bit to the basket, kind of get over your defender. Davis showed it right there.
Last 3 field goals for Fordham. Here's Rockers from deep. And boy, the three-point shot has been a weapon today for St. Louis. So is Paige Rockers. She has 14 points. She's one off her career high in the first half. And she hasn't missed. Catch and shoot for Kavanaugh from 3.
Kavanaugh's been letting up the stat sheet from all over the floor, and that makes it so difficult to defend.
Another player in double figures. Kavanaugh now with 10 first half points. Final minute here of the second quarter. France backdoor for Gitz. Klug held her ground, and it's Fordham basketball. St. Louis's three-point shooting has kept them in this one for sure. France got them going early. With those 2 early ones, they were having trouble scoring early, and France helped them relax a little.
Well, and I think that has been their key to be able to stay in this thing, because they had not been able to get their key pieces, and Jackie Kemp going in the offensive flow, and the rotation of the basketball there offensively has certainly favored Fordham this afternoon.
McMahon lost the headband, and she presses on. About a 7-second difference between the clocks. Shot clock down to 5. McMahon to Gitz in the corner. That one comes up short. Kavanaugh flailing at it. Rockers the offensive rebound with 5 seconds. Kicks it back out. McMahon from 3. Off the mark. And the clock expires on the second quarter here inside the Rose Hill Gymnasium. A back and forth first half with St. Louis so far. Great job by the crew here at Fordham University, and the Rams have the ball to begin the second half. Davis with those 15 first half points. Kavanaugh at 10, make it 12.
Yeah, 5 out once again for Fordham on that offensive attack. And Bree Kavanaugh kind of smirking a little bit as they went back defensively up against Jordan France, winning that one, and collectively on the mismatch, Fordham answering.
Yeah, Klug making the defensive play there as Kemp tried to take it to the basket. You can see the confidence oozing out of Kavanaugh right now on the floor, as Holden draws the foul on the interior. So Kemp trying to create on the previous possession. A good job defensively here by Klug.
And a good switch between Holden and Klug, just making a decision and staying with it, and Klug get in front. And that's one of the keys against Jackie Kemp. You got to be in front of her on the play. You start chasing her from the side or behind, that's where you're going to pick up a foul. So good job in communicating defensively with the Rams.
Well, the foul a moment ago against St. Louis was the 3rd on Jenny Vliet. So a handful of players with some foul concerns here. Here's Vliet on the other end. Now 6 out of 10 from downtown are the Billikens.
They average about 22-3 attempts per game, and they have been efficient in that department this afternoon.
Already the 9th lead change. Kavanaugh aiming for number 10. Nothing doing there. Cross-court pass to Kemp. Now she'll drive again, switches hands, and she has her first field goal.
Leaning off the body, knowing that it wasn't there to use her left hand to finish, and popping back. Great athleticism there by Jackie Kemp.
St. Louis, a little 5-0 run to go back up by 4. Kemp looks to push. Paige Rockers out there at the start of the 3rd quarter, and that's a career high for Paige Rockers now with 17 points.
Rockers with a bullet. The beelined right into the hoop. Had the cushion, was calling for it from the outside. And that was better efficiency on the pass by St. Louis on the rotation of the basketball.
8 straight points for St. Louis. Jackie Kemp trying to get going. Paige Kane Dukes. They'll be tipping off at 3:30 against the Fordham University men. And you can catch that game right here as well on CBS Sports Network.
Pretty hot team as well. Winning 9 of their last 10. 2-0 in the conference. Rams are always tough here at home, too.
Very good here at home,
yep.
Coming off a win, an overtime win over Richmond.
Forcing a lot of turnovers this season, too. So that'll be just as much of a grind-out, interesting game as the one we have right now.
This is a grind-out game with a little extra because nobody's missing from the outside, especially St. Louis.
Rocker's perfect on the afternoon, 6 for 6.
Krug rolling to the basket and loses the handle.
Defense read that one perfectly, switched up nicely, and the Rams walking right into it. Coach Gately cheering on her defense now.
Turnover number 8 for Fordham. Kemp hit her last field goal. See if that gets her going. Bleed playing with those 3 personal fouls, driving on Kavanaugh. And Gitz, who had a big first half, misfires there off of St. Louis.
You know, I want to give Joanna Klug a lot of credit right there defensively because she kind of watched and followed a little bit Jackie Kemp going through the lane. Then she had her eye on Maddie Gitz, had to go out and kind of cover her. You know, she's got very good awareness right now inside the paint as to who's flowing through and how she needs to pick up that person.
Davis continues to work inside, putting an end to that 8-0 run for St. Louis. Rockers draws the foul inside on Holden.
And the defense answering at the opposite end with a bucket from Davis. Little up and under through 2 defenders. Look at the strength of her once again. We talked about that type of a play going strong to the basket in the first half, showing it once again here in the third quarter.
With 17 points, France off the mark on the drive, and once again it's going down for Fordham. So out of that timeout, we know Stephanie Gately and Fordham known for defense, and the defense seems to be tightening a little bit the last 2 possessions for the Rams. Back inside to Davis, working against Gitz. In the paint once again. That time no good, but there's Klug inside for another possession. Double team by St. Louis. Doesn't matter for Jamaris Davis.
Coach Stone looking for the travel, thought she picked up her pivot foot. Davis going strong there through the double team. And look at the charge at the opposite end. Holden taking it for the Rams.
And that's going to be the 4th personal foul against Jenny Valit of St. Louis. Kerry McMahon comes on to replace her as Valit goes to the bench with those 4 fouls.
Strong drive to the basket there, and Holden just standing her ground and talk about firing up your squad. That's the way to do it.
Back-to-back buckets for Jamaris Davis has Fordham back within 3. 3 in a row for Jamaris, off the back of the rim. Kavanaugh, guarding Kemp right now. Shot clock down to 5. France picks up her dribble, so Rockers finally misses one. Had to fire it up to beat the shot clock.
Yeah, the defense was pushing St. Louis further away from the basket as the clock started to wind down.
They go back inside to Davis, and this time there's that travel call that Lisa Stone has been lobbying for. Sometimes it works.
from the inside and the outside. She keeps stretching the defense further and further down the line. Add to that 4 boards on the afternoon. She has certainly helped this Billiken team get into this lead on the road.
St. Louis went up by 7. Fordham called timeout. The defense stiffened up. Billikens haven't scored since then. Shot clock winding again. Entry pass is knocked away. Shot clock down to 2. McMahon has to create herself. And that's a shot clock violation.
Defense, defense, defense has definitely been the difference for the Rams this afternoon. They have gotten in front of Kemp. They have gotten in front of France. They have kept the basketball between them and the basket. Doing a great job. And one of those players right now giving us the little Hawaiian aloha there is Lauren Holden running the offensive show on this play. Little horns action.
Aaliyah Covington back into the game for St. Louis. Started the game, didn't start the second half. Wild shot by Davis. Covington out in front of the field. Kemp finds her.
Good recovery by Kavanaugh on the perimeter.
Here's Rockers, the hot hand today. Comes up short. Another rebound for Jamaris Davis.
Got the mismatch once again down low.
Blue kicks it out for Davis. Chases down the loose ball, and a new shot clock for the Rams.
And now, you know, you've got the clock on your side a little bit here. Run your set. You got possession of the ball.
And that's 21 points for Jamaris Davis to go along with her 8 rebounds. She scored the last 6 points. Fordham back within 1.
Coming off of that 18-point effort against UMass. Here's the big kick.
Kemp found Covington, who couldn't convert from downtown. Fordham on a 6-0 run.
And you don't want to see St. Louis start settling for threes. And the other aspect of that, those balls come hard off the iron. You've done a great job of protecting any fast break points this afternoon. You don't want those type of hard shots to turn into easy baskets at the opposite end for Fordham.
Madison Gitz commits the foul. Jamaris Davis will head to the free throw line, looking to add to her total of 21 points this afternoon. She has 12 double-doubles this season, second in the Atlantic 10 in rebounding. Coming into today's game, 11th all-time in scoring at Fordham, Jamaris Davis.
An intelligent, headsy basketball player, solid student athlete.
What did Stephanie Gately tell us the other day when she got on the bus? The thing she was most excited about was her report card, which was very good.
Yeah, all A's and 1B.
Kavanaugh hit the deck, and she was matched up with Gitz. Lob pass inside is well off the mark, and Davis comes under that like she's a free safety.
Looks like a superpower, since it is also Alumni and Superpower Day here.
A lot going on here at Fordham today.
Yep.
We've had 10 lead changes. Davis, and nobody can handle her inside right now.
Well, and Gitz is there, and I think what frustrates Coach Lisa Stone right now is the fact that her defender was there in Maddie Gitz. Push off on her. Make her feel uncomfortable. Get a hand in her face. Don't let her get to the basket so easily.
Gitz was able to match Davis almost point for point in the first half, but Davis has taken control here in the third quarter. Fordham has scored the last 10 points of this game.
This is mirroring much of the same way that they did against UMass up in Amherst the other night on the road. Just that uncomfortableness that you're trying to curl into the lane. Maddie Gitz coming away with the big swat down. Billikens able to come back with the basketball.
And deep penetration there for Jackie Kemp, finally ending this 10-0 Fordham run. Jamaris Davis, the focal point of the offense here in the third quarter. That's 27 points for Jamaris Davis, and that ties her career high here in the third quarter. Final 40 seconds. Rockers from the wing. Banks it home.
Kissed it high off the corner of that glass last possession here of this quarter. What a quarter of basketball we've had.
It's been that kind of afternoon for Paige Rockers. Just like Jamaris Davis has a career high, so does Rockers now with 20 points. And we are all knotted at 50 as Kavanaugh winds down the clock. The shot clock is off. And bumped on the perimeter by Jordan France. And that's the 15th foul, so Bree Kavanaugh will get to the free throw line for 2 shots. Now, if you take Fordham's 11 wins this season, Bree Kavanaugh has been their leading scorer collectively in those 11 games, averaging about 17 points a game. So usually when she plays well, Fordham wins the game. And today Kavanaugh now has 14 points. Final 5 seconds of the quarter. McMahon pushes it up against Davis to Covington in the corner, and she stepped on the sideline with 9/10 of a second to play. Quick inbound pass to Davis, and she'll let the third quarter expire. A third quarter that belonged to Jamaris.
You know, credit Fordham. They've been able to establish an outside game and then go inside pretty much whenever they have wanted to this entire 3 quarters of this basketball game.
And on the other side of that token, St. Louis 8 for 14 from behind the three-point line. They're not taking a lot more three-pointers than they usually take, but they're just making a lot more. No question about it. Speaking of efficient, Jamaris Davis in that third quarter for Fordham had 12 points on 5 of 10 field goals, and she has equaled her career high of 27 points. And an offensive foul as Bree Kavanaugh steps up to take the charge.
Bree Kavanaugh and Lauren Holden have been in the right spot, stepping in twice today, taking big hits for their team, and really slicing off the offensive opportunity that St. Louis has been trying to create.
Second foul against Aaliyah Covington. First 30 seconds gone by here in the fourth. A game that has seen 3 ties, 10 lead changes, and a lot of Jamaris Davis. Gillings from the baseline, and a 4-point Fordham lead.
I tell you, I got tired just watching Jamaris Davis on that whole scenario. Gets the rebound, turns into a triple team, takes a breath, finds her open teammate to finish.
Madison gets off the mark from the top of the key.
And then gets the rebound here at the opposite end of the floor.
Why not? Her 13th double-double of the season with plenty of time to go. And now Kavanaugh, who spent a large portion of the afternoon on the floor getting knocked all over the place, draws the foul there.
Coach Gately had just said in the halftime piece that we saw, attitude and effort. She expects you to come with that every single game, and we're seeing that today, no question, from Jamaris Davis.
Catch and shoot for Kavanaugh, and Gillings corrals the offensive rebound. Holden and Kemp, the point guard matchup, 2 veterans in the Atlantic 10. As is Jamaris Davis. Good job there by Kitts. Here's Kemp working on Gillings. Shovels it over inside for Gitts, who draws the foul against Zara Gillings. And that's going to be her 4th.
The offense for the Billikens is having to start so high. They're really getting frustrated. They're going east-west instead of going north-south. And Maddie gets fortunate in that play that, you know, she's got one of the best point guards in the country to be able to thread her that basketball. But Fordham's really pushing the effort high up on that key spot for the Billikens to really have difficulty in starting their offensive attack.
That's a good point. I was thinking, watching, it was about 15 or 16 seconds before they even made a move towards the goal. Maddie Gitz now with 14 points and 7 rebounds. Davis, and there is her new career high. 29 for Jamaris Davis. Some inside, some outside for the senior from Philadelphia. Gets her hand on that one, forces the loose ball. Davis dives on top of it, and it is a jump ball. And the possession arrow for the Fordham Rams.
What a game and an effort by Jamaris Davis right now, and the fans appreciative of that on their feet, working hard. You know, it's just confidence, air confidence. You know, the defense slacked off of me. Nobody's coming to the basketball. I'm just going to kind of just let it go. And rips the twine on it.
And she's hit a handful of those 15 to 17-foot jumpers today. It hasn't been all inside. A little closer to the basket this time. Kemp, a deep three from the wing, and that's a big one for St. Louis to pull them back to within one. Just when you need it, Jackie Kemp comes through.
That's one of those sigh of relief if you're on the bench for the Billikens, because they know that the last 3 or 4 scenarios down the floor, they have been stifled and unable to really garner any type of momentum offensively in stringing some baskets together. High pick and roll action not there.
Jillings takes it herself but misfires. Had an open look.
You know, if she changed hands on her shot, if she had kept it in her left hand, I think she would have been golden. Get to the basket. Look at this quick step.
Another lead change in a game of lead changes, and just like that, St. Louis is back up 57 to 56. 22 for Paige Rockers, and Stephanie Gately wants to have a word.
Jamaris Davis might be a little bit gassed there on that play, too, because she got beat.
Off at 3:30 here on CBS Sports Network, but we've got a good finish here. 6:25 to go in a 1-point ball game. Fordham with the ball, trailing by a point.
Williams having a heck of a season there. 2-time A-10 Rookie of the Week, leading the conference in rebounding. He's had some great rebounding action here today with the young lady with the ball, Jamaris Davis.
Scoring as well. With a career-high 29 points. Make it 31 out of the timeout.
Soft touch with a cushion.
And our 12th lead change of the afternoon. A cold afternoon in New York City.
Her confidence just keeps growing every single time she touches the basketball.
Jordan France puts it on the floor and pulls up, and St. Louis back on top.
France working hard, working off the body there. She had actually got the scoring started to begin this game.
That was her first basket since those 2 early threes that she hit that were very crucial, because Fordham came out and scored the first 7 points. Davis comes up short. That might have been her easiest one of the night, too.
Yeah, and I think she felt Gitz feeling that she might come in from the backside for a swat.
Holden secures the rebound off the miss from Kemp.
Good movement of the basketball. Quick movement. And not only quick movement there, Pat, the fact that the ball was right there in a catch and shoot situation. Look out.
Out in front of the pack is Jordan France. The all-time assist leader at St. Louis, Jackie Kemp, found her and the Billikens are up by 3.
One of our few fast break points. That was one of my keys this afternoon. You can see how quickly they can stick it to you the opposite end and make it work efficiently. But they haven't been able to get that going consistently.
That one came at a very opportune time. Holden drives around. Kemp picks up her dribble. Now the freshman Klug puts it on the deck and travels. So when they do implement the fast break, it looks pretty good and efficiently.
It's all quick from the outlet. And look at Jackie Kemp in the middle of the floor and quickly breaking as soon as that ball was recovered off of the rebound. The quick slice and already on the outlet to finish there is France.
France now with 10 points on back-to-back buckets. St. Louis looking to extend the lead from the baseline. It's Gitz, and Davis clears the boards. That's her 11th rebound. Klug from 17 away. Now there's a whistle away from the play as rockers hit the floor, and our officials are going to discuss this.
Trying to decide when the foul occurred. And basket will count, and a charge after the release. So, see if we can pick it up.
So the basket from Klug counts, and it's a clear out against Jamaris Davis. That's her 3rd foul. Pulls Fordham back within a point. Nice dish off for Gitz. Count it. Who else but Jackie Kemp setting up the play?
Now we're starting to see the 2 consecutive flows down the floor that appear to be more the way the Billikens can play. Drawing the double team, looking for that person, just kind of laying back, and Maddie Gitz, who has the opportunity here to give the Billikens that 4-point lead. Big miss, but the Rams come away with the ball. See if they try to push it.
A little bit for Kavanaugh, and she gets Fordham into the offense. Lauren Holden playing off the ball right now. Kavanaugh, the redshirt freshman from New Jersey, strong drive and draws the foul, and a handshake afterwards from France.
Yeah, great respect between these two who have been fighting it out all afternoon, and Jordan France and Kavanaugh going up strong and just trying to make things happen. And Bree Kavanaugh, we talked about in the open how quick she has that first step. It really puts herself with opportunities at the free throw line where she finally has missed one today.
82% coming in. As you mentioned, perfect on the afternoon until that miss. One more free throw coming up for Kavanaugh. Fordham trailing by 3 in the 4th quarter. Bree Kavanaugh, who just missed her first in 6 attempts here today. And you see a prolific free throw shooter for the season. 14 points. Make it 15 for the freshman who was averaging 21 over her last 3 coming in. Kemp quickly into the front court. Working on Gillings. Trying to turn the corner. Floating out is Valit for 3. And Davis another rebound and secures it. Kendall Jeremiah on the floor for Fordham. In place of Joanna Klug. Davis from the baseline. That would have tied it.
I thought they rushed a little bit. They have been very patient in their offensive sets. I think they could have gotten a better shot. That was a huge, huge series for the Rams down the floor. And this is even bigger if the Billikens can capitalize it.
It's Kavanaugh matched up against Jackie Kemp right now. Freshman on senior.
Good switch by the Rams.
Gillings bothered the shot. It didn't hit the rim. Doesn't matter. Fordham has the rebound. 2 minutes to go. Fordham patiently into its offense. Kavanaugh for 3. And the Rams have the lead.
That was an air of confidence. They were expecting Bree Kavanaugh to come off the screen and drive to the hoop. That didn't happen. She saw the spacing.
18 points for the freshman. Gitz tries to answer. Kavanaugh skies for the rebound. 90 seconds to go. Back-to-back plays by Bree Kavanaugh to give Fordham a 1-point advantage and the ball. Off balance there. And a good box out by Rockers.
The initial shot wasn't there. She was feeling the confidence that she had on the previous shot.
And Lisa Stone calls timeout with just over a minute to play.
This timeout that Lisa Stone has taken, not only to discuss what they want to do on this basket, but what they want to do on a made or a miss following this series on the floor.
Branch triggers it in, and it's in the hands of the senior point guard, Jackie Kemp. Driving against Jeremiah. Shot clock is down to 6. Rockers, it's been her day, comes up short there, and Kavanaugh corrals the rebound. And an immediate timeout for Fordham before they advance the basketball.
Early in this basketball game, the first 3 or 4 series down the floor, St. Louis never got into a rhythm, I felt, offensively. The passes weren't there. They weren't.
Gately of Fordham, 595 career wins on your right. And Lisa Stone of St. Louis, 601 on the left. Just picked up her 600th career victory on New Year's Eve against St. Bonaventure. So out of the Fordham timeout. And again, they weren't able to advance it into the front court because Kavanaugh called it immediately.
And for St. Louis, they know they're going to get the ball back here off of the possession. You just want to play good D. And you want to try to be able to have that type of a scenario where you got a lot of time on the clock. They had one to give up. That's a good foul right there.
That was the 4th team foul, so no more fouls to give for St. Louis. Another timeout for Lisa Stone. Kavanaugh 6 for 7 from the line today. And from what we've seen, Leah, she doesn't appear to be scared off by the moment. Oh, and it's an errant pass on the inbound. Kavanaugh tries to chase it down, and she cannot save it. So an unforced turnover by Fordham off of the inbound.
How about that? And they can't discuss it here as far as Fordham is concerned because there are no timeouts, but St. Louis has the opportunity, and what an opportunity this is right now on this errant turnover. It was a couple years ago, right on this very court.
You saw in our game reset, St. Louis is out of timeouts. Fordham does have 1 foul to give. Shot clock is off, and it's in the hands of Kemp. Holden draws the defensive assignment on Jackie Kemp. We are under 20 seconds to play in a 1-point game. Kemp makes her move at 11, drives to the basket. Davis grabs the rebound into the hands of Kavanaugh, and she's fouled with 5.9 seconds to go.
Signature bucket. We had just talked about that play, and that's exactly what the Billikens went to. Jackie had the seam to go to the bucket. May have picked up her dribble a little bit too far to the outside. And the angle was there. Gately's team is in possession now with an opportunity to close this out. And I think it's apropos that Bree Kavanaugh is on the free throw line, the way she has played once again for this for this Fordham team, just the same way she did against UMass the other night.
Yeah, UMass on your mind because she scored 23 against them on Wednesday, going the full 40 minutes.
She was really the difference in the beginning of that game that helped spur Fordham to be able to stretch out the lead.
No timeouts for St. Louis, 3-point game. There's the foul to give by Lauren Holden. It comes with 4.5 seconds to go.
You got that foul to give, and Lauren Holden just trying to get back in front of Jackie Kemp. And wisely playing off the ball. No fouls here. You want to just play off the basketball and slow the pace. No 3-point bucket.
Need a 3 to tie. Off the mark. And Fordham, a 3-point win on their home floor over a previously undefeated in conference play St. Louis team.